We're good? Okay, I've got 9:30. We'll start our Monday, July 7th Commissioners Court with Commissioner Juicy leading us in pledges, Commissioner Atfeld in invocation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Lord God, we thank you for this opportunity to gather and meet. We ask that you guide us in our decision making. But before all of that, we ask you to be with the victims and families of those in the Texas flood. What a tragedy that we don't understand, but we know you in the end understand it all. We ask that you be with the first responders who have the dubious task of looking for those remaining. We ask that you be with those families who have lost loved ones, who were injured, and who are still waiting on their babies to come home, or their fathers, or their mothers, or their brothers, or their sisters. We ask that you continue to bless Galveston County and all who live, work, and play. In Jesus' name.
Amen.
Next is public comment. No one signed up for public comment. Does anybody want to address Commissioners Court during the public comment period? Doesn't look like it. Items 1 through 47 are on consent. I've had a request to pull item number 9. Make a motion to approve everything else. Is that the motion to approve the consent agenda? I didn't see any language up there. Okay. Motion and second to approve the rest of it. Motion passes 5-0. Before we come back to number 9, we're going to do item 19 real quick. A resolution naming July as Parks and Recreation Month submitted by Parks and Cultural Services.
Good morning, Julie Walker, Parks Director. Every July is Parks and Rec Month. This year's theme is Build Together, Play Together, so we went with a Lego theme. We've got Lego squishies. It's a reminder of the contributions of more than 160,000 full-time park and recreation professionals, along with hundreds of thousands of part-time and seasonal workers as well. Excuse me. We celebrate parks and recreation professionals and how they improve the lives of tens of millions of people, making lasting impacts in the communities across the country. Parks and recreation programs are essential to the community health and well-being and help cultivate lifelong friendships, memories, and family bonds that people hold very dear. You have a calendar in front of you. We've got a lot of great events this year. Some that I want to highlight. July 11th, we're doing a beach cleanup on Bolivar, so if you want to join us over there at 11 o'clock, we'll be doing that. July 18th, you can come join us at Carbide Park for kids and adults to learn how to train your dragon, hence the bags that I gave you have dragon's faces on them. It'll be a lot of fun for the kids, and I think adults will have fun too. July 19th is Parks and Rec Professional Day, so make sure to thank your favorite Parks and Rec professionals. I would really like for you to highlight our guys who work in the field because they're out there working in the hot and humid weather every single day. July 23rd is our Touch a Truck event at Walter Hall from 10 to noon. We'll have tractors, mowers. The Sheriff's Office has been gracious enough to have some vehicles. We'll also have some high water rescue vehicles there. It'll be a great event for the kids.
Can we drive tractors?
See me after court, and we'll talk about it.
I've got one you can drive after I see proof of insurance.
Proof of insurance and a valid driver's license, and you will have had to pass our background checks. Okay.
So the answer's no.
Never mind.
And July 30th, to help us beat the heat, join us for popsicles at Bayside Community Center. But there's lots of things to do throughout the month, so just find something. We'll be out there having a really great time, helping the community.
So for clarification, our parks are not overrun with dragons, so the Train Your Dragon is purely academic, and there's no threat of a dragon attacking you in a county park.
No, not at all.
All right. Picture?
Yes, please.
Oh, yeah, where's your mascot?
He was sick today.
Thank you, Allison.
All right, brings us to item 9, consideration of approval to adopt uniform work hours in accordance with Senate Bill 65, submitted by Human Resources.
Good morning.
Morning.
This was placed on the agenda after Senate Bill 65 was passed, so to add this to the policy to adopt those uniform work hours.
Yeah, so just to start off, I believe that we are all on the same page. We need to do something, except for Commissioner Doogie. We all signed multiple resolutions supporting this in the legislature over the past 8 years. So I think we're just trying to get a definition of what we're trying to accomplish and we don't have to make it effective immediately, and also we'll have another commissioner's court between now and what I would propose is implementation of the end of the month. You correct me, is the pay period ending the 31st?
Yes,
So-
July 31st, yes, sir.
Is that the end of the pay period or the beginning of the new one?
It's the end of a pay period. I
So-
think we just checked, yes.
So I would suggest we make this effective August 1st to give everybody plenty of time to adjust.
Okay.
Well, I generally concur and agree with uniform work hours, but I don't think we're going about it the right way in that the public, like us, elected all of these other officials who this is affecting. I understand problems, concerns, questions, attacks we get. Like, I didn't know the Texas City office, tax assessor office closed until the constituent tells me. So it's both ways, but I don't know that we're doing it right, having not spoken to the tax assessor, the district clerk, the county clerk, the JPs. There's other things that need to be considered besides just 8 to 5. Because 8 to 5 and windows are 100% what the taxpayers expect and 100% what we all strive to please. However, sometimes, like just the piece that I was for 13 years, we closed at noon on Fridays, but our staff worked till 5 o'clock because we couldn't do the window and all of the e-filings and all of the admin paperwork that needed to be done. So we were not working. We were just not open to the public. And the 500 series of the Justice of the Peace Court rules address this and say, if the window is closed, your deadline's automatically extended by 48 hours. It was contemplated by the Supreme Court of Texas when they promulgated the rules that you may need to close your window and not be open to the public. So what am I saying? I'm just saying, I think, rather than, and it's well written, and I generally agree with everything. I just think we need to sit down with everyone, and I'll be on the committee, or we can all have a workshop, or we can all come here on a day and just talk about it after proper notice. I'm good with that. We just need input, and I believe that all of our fellow elected officials now know that we want uniform work hours, but we need to hear from them.
Surely, don't you think 2 weeks is enough time?
Sure, I'm ready to meet any day this week.
Okay, so we adopt today and we can modify it in 2 weeks, if there's modifications required.
Okay, well, I don't know that I'm there, but I'm willing to hear from everyone.
Yeah, I'm not quite there yet. I do concur with a lot of what you just said, Darrell, simply because they are elected officials just like we are. They know how to run their departments better than we do. And I love the idea of being open 8 to 5. Because I sit there every Friday and watch people come and go, because they don't know. They only show up once a year for doing their tags, and the office is closed. So they get pretty frustrated at times, but they realize the reasons for it. Also,
No, they don't.
Maybe it's on our part because we need to give them more help. And if we give them more help, maybe they can extend the hours. Because in my particular situation where I'm at, a lot of people work, and they don't work in town. So they got to be there before 8 in the morning, and they got to be there after 5. And so those hours are covered. And I'd hate to see us not be able to cover those hours because we're doing these hours. And so that's why it needs to be talked about more and worked out more amongst.
They can flex their employees to have any schedule they want with their employees.
If they have enough employees to do that, they can, absolutely. However, if you flex enough to where, okay, there's only 2 people sitting behind the window Friday afternoon, then they're going to get hammered. They're going to get hammered hard.
So you're saying there's a lot of people coming in trying to conduct business on Friday afternoon?
Yeah, and I've said that before. There are, but is that on us because they don't have enough folks working?
How many vacancies are in these departments?
I don't have that in front of me right now, but I also want to clarify, July 31st is the first day of a pay period, not the last
Okay.
day of a pay
And I
period.
think number 4 gives me a little more comfort with this, is that saying that, knowing that there are many different circumstances that exist, Commissioners Court is open to revisiting this policy and working with elected officials and departments to update this policy
Right.
at any time.
Which I had put in there because we cannot anticipate every situation, and I thought 2 weeks was more than enough to find any changes we need to make.
I think the overall goal is to ensure that Galveston County government is open and available to during common hours, to be available to the public that we serve. And I know that I've needed something done and come up on a Friday afternoon and the department was closed. And I talked with the JP, I've talked with some other folks. I think that there are good reasons that the elected officials have to do what they're doing. I mean, it's a perk to the elected official. It actually allows them, there's practical reasons, like you say, Commissioner. But I also think that serving the public and making sure that those, at least we have someone present during those times, those work hours, I think is in this situation, I think it's probably a higher value than not doing this. And so that's why I would tend to vote for this, with the understanding that we need to certainly talk with our elected officials and make sure we formulate a program that is helpful to them and make sure it serves all their needs and serves their employees' needs as well. I think there's a way that we can do this, and I think number 4 kind of gives us that opportunity to do that.
Which is why I put it in there.
But why not just defer it for 2 weeks as a gesture of goodwill to everyone and come back? How does it hurt us if we're not?
The end result is the same. We adopt it today and modify it in 2 weeks, or we adopt it in 2 weeks. The result's the same.
So here's
Presentation is everything.
Daryl.
Now, I mean, the first I heard about it was Thursday when the agenda came out. I haven't even had time, except all weekend when I'm trying to eat a hot dog or a hamburger, I'm trying to figure this out.
It's not that long.
Huh?
It's not that long. You spent all weekend reading it?
No, constipated, because I struggled for our fellow.
And I felt like I had a little more lead time on this because it was one of our legislative priorities that we've kind of worked at.
For 8 years.
And so, and I know that we had our state rep in Galveston actually carry the legislation, and we, had her carry that for us, and she carried it for us and took a lot of darts and arrows because of that. And so I think I kind of knew that this was coming just because it had not been passed before. We tried to get it passed before unsuccessfully. We finally got it passed, and it was kind of our priority. It's the one that we pushed, and so that's why I think that it's reasonable to accept this, because it was our priority, and that's why I feel like I've had a lot of lead time. I've known about it for a while.
And this isn't a new law, for clarity. This is just including our county in the law that already existed.
Right.
So the reason I would rather not defer it now, Commissioner Apfel, is because this gives us a shot clock, and it allows our elected officials and department heads to communicate with their staff that this is coming at a certain date. I think we should have had a workshop. I agree with that. And it's probably a good, practice moving forward when we have an item that we know is going to be maybe contentious to put it on a workshop agenda. But I think starting the shot clock now, bringing it back in 2 weeks at our next meeting, if there's any adjustments that are necessary. I had a few questions from the policy that I'd like to include if y'all are willing. One, under flexible hours, I'd like to add a sentence to the end. This policy does not restrict departments from operating additionally outside of the 8 to 5 p.m. Hours.
Yeah, that was a very good comment you made, and I agree with that.
So I think...
You can have more hours, you just have to be at least 8 to 5.
So I think clarifying under flexible hours, adding a sentence saying departments can operate outside of 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, but they have to be open, during those minimum hours. And then under exceptions, I think some clarifications on the justice of the peace. For those with multiple locations, the way it reads to me is they have to have one office open all the time, one specific office, but my understanding is they just have to be available to the public at one location during Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. So I'd like to amend it to clarify the flexible hours, that this isn't restricting them only to 8 to 5, and clarifying the justice of the peace.
I have that written down, which I think is talking about exactly what you're talking about.
Yes, so I guess
will
exact
accept it.
language, my amendment is, under flexible hours, adding a sentence, "This policy does not restrict a department from operating outside of the uniform work hours of 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday." And then justice of the peace, amending that to read, "Must have a location open 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday."
Accept your amendment.
And again, I want to clarify, the beginning of the pay period would be
Yes, so
July
this will-
31st.
Begin July 31st, but we still have another regularly scheduled Commissioners Court between now and then.
Got it.
I just, I know we've been fighting for this for a while, for quite a while, like you said, 8 years. It's something that needs to happen. However, I don't know the hurry why we have to have it done by the end of the month, and why we cannot have some time to sit down and have a workshop with all the elected officials this affects. And let's throw it back and forth and figure it out. Just because, I mean, what's the big rush?
It's not a rush, it's a
been
month
8
from
years
now.
already.
Yeah, I wouldn't call this a rush.
I would, because
A month
this
is a
just
rush.
came out a few days ago. And, you know, a lot of people haven't even had time to look at it yet.
Who?
Some of the elected officials, I'm guessing.
So I think we bring it back in 2 weeks if we need to discuss it and adjust it. And here's the reason I'd like to get it done, Commissioner Giusti. In Calder Annex, every Friday afternoon, we have at least 10, sometimes 50 people who come by,
Absolutely correct.
and they walk into the office and they're furious. They've taken off time from work to come and take care of county business. And so obviously the hours
So
are
if you
posted.
put one clerk in there to keep the hours open, are they going to satisfy those 50 people?
I think the people who took off time from work to come up to the annex to do business, even if they had to wait in line, the fact that it's open and they can take care of business, they'd rather be complaining about the line than complaining about not being able
Having
to
to come
take care
back
of it.
again. And
Because
when they-
sometimes it's time specific. I mean, especially during tax season, I had people come in and say, now I'm going to be late on my taxes. And I said, well, we have a Dropbox, but they wanted to talk to someone and handle it, So I don't think it's a rush, but I would like to get it, taken care of quickly so that we can address that issue.
I'm not arguing with that,
Yeah.
but to me, quickly is within the next couple of months,
Yeah.
honestly.
There's no point in waiting, I don't understand.
There again, our problem has always been not the fact that they're closed, it's the fact of lack of communication with the public, to be dead honest with you. Because there's a little bitty sign on the door, when they come once a year, they see that little bitty sign that says, oh, we're closed on Friday afternoon. Well, that's not sufficient. Had it been advertised properly and done properly through, I know it's done through the website, but who goes and looks at our website to say, gee, are they gonna be open on a workday? No, because we should be, however, and I agree with that. Who is that on though? That's kind of on us. If they need more personnel, we need to give them more personnel to be able to. cover
Don't
the
believe they
hours
have any
need to
pending
cover.
personnel requests.
That's because they know we generally won't give it to them.
So I made a motion to amend,
Get it,
adding one
accepted.
sentence and then changing a sentence.
And we have to, also had to amend the start date to be July 31st, not August 1st.
Well, sounds like, so we're about to vote. I want to say for the record, I 100% supported uniform work hours in the legislature. I 100% thank Terry Leo Wilson for her efforts. I 100% believe that we need uniform work hours in Galveston County. I 100% agree that the overall goal is to ensure that Galveston County government is open and available during common hours to be available to the public we serve. But I don't think we should do it today, and so I'm going to vote yes.
And I 100% agree with that, because, people are gonna need more time to get babysitters and things and do things that, for their employees. They're gonna have to adjust within 2 weeks. Not easy.
It's not every employee that has to be there 8 to 5.
And to that point, Richard, to my point, your point, we just need a few.
So somewhere in here, does it say when it starts, August 30th?
Yeah, we did that. We're coinciding it with the 2 pay periods from now. So beginning July 31st, which is the beginning of a pay period.
Okay, and so we're voting on Commissioner Doogie's amendment currently,
The policy with his amendments accepted, yes.
the policy with his amendment.
Right.
Okay, all right. And so why don't we compromise and say, have this policy start September 1st?
Well, we don't, why? What's the purpose of that? As Commissioner Doogie said,
That's a compromise
We-
to our colleagues.
I'm even okay
the compromise
with-
is 2 weeks.
I'm even okay with July 31st. I just want to have, before we do a cram down, let's talk to everyone who it affects and
And-
concerns.
And 2 weeks should be plenty, and we'll have another court in 2 weeks where you can amend the policy, if needed.
Or just defer it and vote in 2 weeks.
We already have a motion to accept it, and in a second. Motion passes 3-2. Action agenda purchasing. Item 48, consideration of awarding invitation to bid 25-048 Alticide Liquid Larvicide 5%, 20% from our interim purchasing agent.
Good morning, gentlemen. We received 4 bids for ITB 25-048. 3 of the bidders were equal in price, and therefore we have to draw a lot in order to award in accordance with Local Government Code 262027.
Is he-
And just
is he-
pass it down to-
Is he picking the winner, or is he picking, okay, all right. This seems to always happen with insecticides. The name drawn is S. Opco USA, LLC DBA Viceris?
Correct.
Okay, I was close enough. Motion passes 5-0. Consideration of awarding RFP 25041 aerial adulticide application services.
We only received 1 submittal for RFP 25-041. We recommend to award to Agriland Aviation.
Does this supplement our county program?
I'm sorry?
Does this supplement our county program?
This is to, what is this?
Looks like Lee has the answer. Backup, okay, all right.
Thank you, Lee.
Motion passes 5-0. We're done with our agenda. We're out at 9:53.
Don't meet the dragon.